variant cases, the government aims to further ramp up COVID-19 vaccinations, allowing more Filipinos to get booster shots beginning tomorrow. Former Senator Bongbong Marcos faces yet another petition challenging his presidential bid, while a faction of the ruling party PDP Laban is hoping for a miracle to stop Senator Bongo from pulling out of the race. And 2021 is almost over. Find out the artists people listen to the most this year. Despite falling short of the initial target in the first 3 days, the massive COVID-19 vaccination drive consistently picking up pace this week, especially with the additional rollout, not just for economic frontliners and indigent Filipinos, but for all fully vaccinated adults beginning tomorrow. Our Tristan Nodalo has more.
The government is all set for the expanded rollout of booster shots beginning Friday, December 3. Health Secretary Francisco Duque confirms that the guidelines have been finalized for the nationwide rollout. The health chief initially says that this will be open for the essential workers and indigent population category, but the DOH later on clarified that all fully vaccinated individuals 18 years old and above are entitled for the booster shots. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez says that the supply for booster shots have been secured.
Instead of Monday, the booster goes for A4, A5. Tomorrow, the IATF will get the guidelines this afternoon. I-discuss na ni ang NBOC head, si Yusek Kabutahe.
Yung ating supply for boosters is already been secured for the first semester or 6 months. Ang aming pinaghahandaan is yung February election period, na matapos lahat ng boostering more or less during the first quarter.
Meantime, the extended rollout of the government's Bayanihan Bakunahan kicks off in Santa Rosa, Laguna. Calabarzon is among the top regions with the largest number of vaccinated individuals during the mass rollout. So far, we've seen families and employees taking the opportunity today to get vaccinated, like the Amarante family.
May mga anak din po kami na magkaroon kami, lumalabas po kami kasi may trabaho po kami. Hindi natin alam kung baka mahawa tayo, di ba? Kung protektado tayo, was okay.
Para maging normal na uli yung buhay natin, kagaya ng dati, yung walang ganitong virus. Matapos na yung virus.
The government has vaccinated over 7 million people during the Bayanihan Bakunahan drive. It fell short of its target of 9 million vaccine recipients. Authorities say that they are planning to revise some of their policies for the second phase of the national vaccination days, including the rules for walk-ins or the unregistered. Meantime, the government is still hopeful to reach the target of 54 million inoculated Filipinos by the end of December. In Santa Rosa, Laguna, Tristan Nodalo, CNN Philippines.
If you have been fully vaccinated for at least 6 months and want to get a booster shot, here's a guide on which vaccine brand to get. The Health Department says Sinovac, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Moderna vaccines have been approved as booster shots. All of these may be used for homologous third dose, except for Sinovac. The same brands may be used for heterologous booster. This means it can be administered to those who received a different brand for their primary shots. The government is planning to add more areas to the red list amid the threat of the new Omicron variant. The Interagency Task Force earlier said nations with local Omicron cases would be placed under the red list as they are considered high risk. For now, entry of travelers from South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Eswatini, Mozambique, Austria, the Czech Republic, Hungary, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Belgium, and Italy is not allowed until December 15.
We are going to propose additional countries based on the detection of this Omicron variant. But as I've said, we also need to balance it off with the case trends. They might have detected one Omicron variant, but their trends of cases are just below this incidence rate that we can classify them as red, and then we're not going to recommend. So it's still being studied. We have the IATF later, and then we will be informing the public after.
So far, the Bureau of Quarantine is monitoring at least 64 people who recently arrived in the country before the travel ban. They include 3 expatriates and a Filipino who went to Negros Occidental after arriving from South Africa. Health officials say the 4 initially tested negative for COVID-19. They have been re-swabbed and isolated pending test results. While the Philippines has not yet detected the Omicron variant, it has now been found in at least 25 countries and territories since it was first discovered by South African scientists last month. The United States is the latest addition to the list after it confirmed a case of the new variant in California. Top U.S. health expert Dr. Anthony Fauci says the individual traveled from South Africa on November 22nd and tested positive for COVID-19 on the 29th. Fauci adds the patient is fully vaccinated and self-quarantining with mild symptoms that are now improving. His close contacts tested negative for the virus. South Korea also detected its first 5 cases of Omicron in travelers from Nigeria. This comes as South Korea logged over 5,200 new infections, a record high for the second straight day. That's despite over 80% of the population already fully vaccinated. The surge prompted authorities to mandate a 10-day quarantine for all incoming international travelers for the next 2 weeks. International agencies speak out against restrictions on African nations. The United Nations called the travel bans unacceptable and likened them to apartheid. The World Health Organization says these will likely not completely prevent the spread of the Omicron variant and only limit the ability of South African researchers to ship virus samples. The WHO also raised concern that countries are being penalized for sharing information. Back here at home, more students will return to face-to-face classes next week, this time including in 28 schools in Metro Manila. That as the number of COVID-19 cases continue to drop. AC Nichols has more.
Sa ating classroom? Wow, very good!
These kindergarten students are finally in the classroom for the first time for a dry run. They will begin their formal education at Comembo Elementary School in Makati City, one of 28 schools in Metro Manila that will reopen for in-person classes on Monday. The Education Department's list shows there is at least one school from every city in the region, except Pateros, joining the pilot run. At Comembo Elementary School, only 13 learners are in a classroom. School officials say they chose students who need extra help.
Mga working parents, ang mga magulang nila, at walang mga nag-a-assist sa kanila sa kanilang bahay.
Some parents say looking after their children can be physically demanding, especially if all of them are in school.
Nahihirapan na rin po kasi ako kasi 4 po yung mga anak ko ma'am sa nag-aaral.
Students in the meantime are just happy to be out of the house after more than a year and a half indoors.
Walang magawa sa bahay. Maganda po kasi sa school eh. Tsaka doon po sa may bahay, wala po ako masyadong magawa.
Basic health protocols are in place. Students will have to pass through temperature scanners by the entrance. Students are told to wash their hands regularly as well. One of the first things you notice is that there are no plastic barriers between chairs, unlike the first schools that reopened. According to the Health Department, the barriers may do more harm than good as they could impede airflow. They put UV light and air purifiers in each classroom instead.
Diba, ang breath natin is warm air. So when it goes up at may virus siya, automatically warm air goes up and the UV light basically kills the virus in milliseconds. So walang way para matransmit. So pagbaba naman, meron kaming 2 heavy-duty air purifiers po that would naman clean the lower parts.
The Education Department is planning to continue expanding the pilot run for face-to-face classes as COVID-19 cases decline. Aside from the 28 in Metro Manila, over 100 elementary and high schools from the regions are scheduled to reopen next week. AC Nichols, CNN Philippines.
A pharmaceutical firm is looking for participants for a trial checking the efficacy and safety of investigational drug molnupiravir in preventing COVID-19 infection among close contacts. MSD Philippines partnered with Asian Hospital Medical Center and Quirino Memorial Medical Center which will recruit close contacts living with symptomatic patients who tested positive within 5 days before the trial. Participants must not have symptoms or caught COVID and unvaccinated. The patients must be under home quarantine as participants will live with them for a month. During the trial, qualified close contacts will either take molnupiravir or a placebo by mouth every 12 hours for 5 days.
Imagine in a situation wherein you get exposed to somebody who has COVID, you're able to take a medicine for it, and you're not going to develop COVID.
We're in the lull of the surge, so relatively mababa or halos wala tayong nakukuhang bagong pasyente. But if you know of someone who has recently been diagnosed to have COVID, so ito yung index case, and then we can look into the household, yung mga kasama nila sa bahay, kasi ito yung mga pwede nating i-include dun sa clinical trial.
30 out of the over 1,300 participants globally will come from the Philippines. Those interested to join may contact the numbers on your screens. A recent study showed molnupiravir can reduce the risk of severe disease or death in asymptomatic and mild patients by 30%. Coming up on Newsnight, the Interior Department cautions election hopefuls as they hold rallies that gather huge crowds, unmindful of health protocols. And film singer Olivia Rodrigo is ending the year strong on Spotify's charts. More about her latest achievements after the break.
Yung air ambulance po, we transport patient from airport to another airport. So far, nandun yung takot kasi lalo na sa akin isang piloto, buong araw pag may flight ka, nasa cockpit ka nakaupo. Since 2018, kasama ko sa araw-araw yung MX-3. Ako po si Captain Boyet Toledo. 3 taon na pong naninilbihan bilang air ambulance pilot.
Mahalagang paalala, ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Kabilang ba kayo sa mga Pilipino na nahihirapan sa mga transaksyon dahil wala o kulang ang mga valid IDs?
Huwag nang mag-alala dahil narito na po ang PhilSys, ang identification system ng bawat Pilipino.
Meron lamang pong 3 steps para makapagrehistro at makakuha ng PhilID. Para sa Step 1 registration, pumunta lang sa register.philsys.gov.ph para makapag-register sa PhilSys online.
Sa pamamagitan ng ID natin, ang bawat Pilipino ay meron ng valid proof of identity.
At mas mapapadali na ang ating mga public and private transactions. Kaya ano pang hinihintay nyo?
Ayaan na sila nanay, tatay at ang buong pamilya. At mag-register na.
Ito ang PhilSys, ID natin to.
When it comes to my family, I make sure to give them only the best. Meals that are healthy, safe, and flavorful. Enjoy home-style goodness with Magnolia ready-to-cook chicken templados. Pre-marinated, it is made from fresh chicken. It is so easy to prepare and super delicious. Also high in protein, which helps boost our immune system. Get your Magnolia ready-to-cook chicken templados from Magnolia chicken stations in chicken tocino flavor and the chicken teriyaki.
Friends, try nyo to. Vet-approved Nutri-Chunks in lamb flavor. With active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real lamb goodness. With essential nutrients to help keep them strong, healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Sa pagbangon ng mga Pilipino, saludo ako sa mga taong patuloy na humaharap sa hamon ng pagbabago.
Bilang isang ina, handa akong gawin ang lahat para sa kaligtasan ng aking mga anak.
Pandemyaman, tuloy pa rin ang serbisyo para malinis ang kapaligiran. Serbisyong publiko para sa kaligtasan ng lahat.
Sa panahon ng krisis, ikaw, ako, magtulungan tayo
Saludo ako sa Pilipino.
Bawat patak, may sarap, may lakas, sulit. Red Horse Beer.
This Christmas season, Robinsons Supermarket is giving you and your family more reasons to be happy with Holiday Fair 2021 promo. This promo has fresh and healthy groceries with exciting deals, perfect for the moms and dads out there who are preparing for the holidays. The promo started last November 1 and will stretch throughout the holidays until December 31, 2021. What's best about this promo is that we will be giving away up to 3 million worth of shopping sprees to 60 lucky customers. All they have to do is to purchase at least 1,500 pesos worth of Holiday Fair participating items using their Go Rewards card or app. If you want to avoid the holiday rush, don't worry. Just order your Holiday Fair groceries online at Robinsons Supermarket via Go Robinsons Delivery. You'll still be able to enjoy all the exciting deals and discounts plus free delivery if you order at least 3,500 pesos worth of groceries. We're also doing the Holiday Fair 2021 live series via Facebook. We will be giving away up to 175,000 pesos worth of cash prizes, gadgets, and gift certificates. So please join us on our remaining episodes. That's on December 4 and December 18. Enjoy this exciting holiday ride with Robinsons Supermarket. Happy holidays and safe shopping, everyone.
The book is about change brought about by research and development and innovation. This book breaks down the program's 4 components that promote inclusive innovation, research and development expertise, applications, and collaborations between the government, the academe, and the private sector. We have so much to be proud of as a nation. Even with limited resources, our scientists have found solutions to the most complex problems.
We should not lose the richness of the experiences, not only of the people who are implementing the program, but mostly the people who benefit from the program.
We have 5 amazing books about science, technology, and innovation.
Pwede ninyong i-download itong mga books na ito ng libre sa aming DOST website at sa Science for Change program website.
Welcome back to CNN Philippines. Presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos faces yet another hurdle in his quest to Malacanang. The Akbayan Citizens Action Party marched to the Commission on Elections headquarters in Manila this morning to file a second disqualification case against Marcos. This is the 5th petition opposing his 2022 bid. The Akbayan members say Marcos has been disqualified from holding a government post after being found guilty of not filing his income tax returns from 1982 to 1985. Petitioners say although the penalty of a perpetual ban from public office only took effect in 1986, it covers at least a year out of the 4 which Marcos was found guilty of not filing his ITR, since the 1985 declaration should have been filed by April of the following year.
Hindi natin nahahayaan na makatakbo ulit si Bongbong Marcos kasi yung kanyang pagtakbo ay direktang insulto sa mga mamamayang Pilipino. Mas maraming mga kaso, mas mataas yung tsansa na ma-disqualify sana siya.
Marcos's team shrugged off the petition. His spokesperson, Vic Rodriguez, says this is part of the group's plan to block his candidacy. Rodriguez adds Marcos and his running mate, presidential daughter Sara Duterte, remain focused on helping Filipinos recover from the pandemic. A faction of the ruling party is still keeping its hopes up over the presidential bid of Senator Bong Go. PDP Laban Secretary General Melvin Matibag says the party is still hoping its perceived standard bearer would still take back his decision to pull out of the race. Matibag says he himself couldn't think of another aspirant whom they can endorse once Go formalizes his withdrawal.
I'll be honest with you that until now, I'm praying for a miracle that he will continue. Nakaabang pa rin naman po tayo dahil officially hindi pa naman po siya talaga nag-withdraw.
Yeah, in fact...
So what we did lang po is to come out with a standard in case na based on this statement, kasi medyo categorical na yung statement yan yung Tuesday, naka-ready po ang partido.
Should Go's plan push through, Matibag says the party would come up with a set of standards for the next aspirant they will endorse. A look now at what other presidential aspirants are up to. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno visited the Parañaque City Hall where huge crowds gathered to see him. He was in Mabalacat, Pampanga earlier in the day to endorse Mayor Chris Garbo's re-election bid. Senator Manny Pacquiao was in his hometown in General Santos City where he distributed aid to hundreds of families whose homes were destroyed by a fire. And during their weekly press briefing, Senator Panfilo Lacson and his running mate, Senate President Vicente Soto III, said they will avoid criticizing other candidates in next year's polls.
Ang gusto lang namin, itaas yung antas ng kampanya. Hindi naman sila yung kalaban natin dito eh. Ang kalaban natin dito, kahirapan, katiwalian. So we stick to issues.
When you point a finger, 3 fingers are pointing at you. Talagang hindi namin ugali yun. Kung just ibang kandidato, merong ginawang hindi mong gusto o hindi tama sa naaayon sa style mo, bakit makikipintas ka kagad? Pangit eh. Ewan ko, bahala sila kung gusto nilang gawin yun.
Political rallies are not allowed before the campaign period. That reminder from the Department of the Interior and Local Government comes as national and local candidates stage political rallies that draw huge crowds. The DILG says the public should refrain from holding these possible super spreader events as it warns of the potential threat of the Omicron variant. The agency adds while special gatherings are allowed with the permission of local government units, minimum public health standards should still be observed. The campaign period officially begins on February 8 for national posts and on March 25 for local positions. Still on Newsnight, PBA teams are set to compete against other Asian powerhouses in next year's Super League. And film singer Olivia Rodrigo's hit song is the most streamed on Spotify this year. Details next. This is CNN Philippines.
Na taong serbisyong may tatak ng tapang at malasakit. Inuuna ang ating kaligtasan, seguridad, kapayapaan at kapakanan ng mga nangangailangan. Matatag, may paninindigan at tapat sa bayan. Ibinuhos ang lahat para sa Pilipino, para sa maliwanag na kinabukasan at tungo sa pag-angat ng bawat mamamayan. Ito ang Duterte Legacy.
For ghosts, there's no place like home.
This main house has something in it.
And home is Discovery Plus. Freak out on all the episodes of Ghost Adventures.
Whatever is up in that room doesn't want us there.
I heard that. Discovery Plus is here, the exclusive home of Ghost Adventures. Subscribe now at 129 pesos per month.
Boracay has put the country on the map for domestic and international tourism. It is only fitting that the gateway to this paradise island is modern and state-of-the-art. SMC Infrastructure has taken the lead in overseeing the improvements of the Boracay Airport. Throughout the years, it carried several name changes, from Caticlan Airport to Godofredo P. Ramos Airport. But it lagged behind in upgrades until SMC Infrastructure stepped in. Now the current and long-term developments include the construction of an international airport passenger terminal. SMC Infrastructure also extended the existing runway to better serve bigger aircrafts. From 950 meters, It now stretches up to 2,100 meters long, keeping passengers happy and satisfied as they escape into the relaxing beaches and waters of Boracay.
Napakahalaga ng savings kasi pag dumating ang pagkakataon na ikaw ay nasa kalagayan, di ba, ma-hospital ka o magkasakit ka ng dito lang sa bahay, kailangan ng pera. Meron kang ipon, anytime pwede ka makapag-withdraw. Matatagpuan yung tindahan ko malapit dito sa Cebuana. Dito po ako naguhulog araw-araw. Kasi gusto ko nga po makaipon para sa aking mga anak, para sa sarili ko, sa darating na araw ng buhay ko. Kaya sinikap po talagang mag-ipon.
Ako po ay may sariling bike, may sidecar. Dadalhin ko po yun sa palengke, tapos doon po, may marami na po akong suki doon na ibinibigay nila yung karton nila sa akin. At yun po yung mga binibenta ko. Hindi naman alam ng mga anak ko na may nakatabi akong pera. Yun po yung inunti-unti namin na ginamit pang araw-araw na pagkain namin nung talagang pandemic.
Stay in ako dito bilang isang sales clerk sa auto supply shop. Basta pag sasahod ako, dadalhin ko doon sa Cebuana, iniipon ko yon. Mas maganda pag nandoon yung pera mo, hindi mo basta-basta magastos, tapos syempre nakokontrol mo siya. Hindi tulad pag hawak-hawak mo lang. Sa hirap ng buhay, kailangan mong kumayod at kailangan mag-ipon.
Siyempre kailangan mo pa rin tumayo kung paano mong pagkakasyahin, kung ano yung nandiyan. Pero hindi naman ang hirap kasi meron ka nakatabi.
Tandaan ako, gusto ko makapag-ipon ng pera para sa darating na araw ng buhay ko at para sa aking mga anak. Talagang dapat magsikap. Magsikap. Hindi ka naman magsisisi kung makaipon ka eh.
This program is brought to you by
The Science for the People book series started as a pet project to aid our long ambition of telling the story of science and technology on a personal level.
This book reflects on how Philippines and its international partners have worked together to advance science, technology, and innovation.
Napaka-importante nito kasi by telling our stories, it will also guide us to making this community stronger, better, and happier.
It will inspire you and give you courage to continue and to pursue your dreams.
As they say, where there is science, there is hope.
Welcome back. Top PBA teams will get to test their mettle against Asian powerhouses in the new and improved East Asia Super League. Beginning October 2022, the league will do away with week-long invitational tournaments and will instead feature a 6-month home and away format. The PBA will choose 2 teams from its top 4 squads next season to represent the country. They will join 6 other clubs in the region, including champions and runners-up from the Japan B-League and Korean Basketball League. They will play in a round-robin format with 2 games taking place Wednesday nights. No PBA team has won an EASL title yet, with the San Miguel Beermen and NLEX Road Warriors both clinching the highest finish of a Filipino team at 4th place. In entertainment, as the year comes to a close, a streaming platform reveals some of the music we've listened to the most. Dominating Spotify's 2021 Wrapped is Puerto Rican rapper-singer Bad Bunny as the most streamed artist. He beat out other chart toppers like Taylor Swift and BTS after getting more than 9 billion streams. And Olivia Rodrigo's driver's license has reached another milestone. Spotify's most streamed song globally with over 1 billion streams. Her Grammy-nominated record, Sour, also came out as the most streamed album worldwide. Take note of your holiday trips. It's off to Baguio for those cold Christmas evenings. The summer capital recorded a low 13 degrees Celsius at 5 a.m. today because of the Amihan or northeast monsoon. Make sure to bundle up if you're hitting the City of Pines this weekend. And if your weekend travels get you to Aklan, you might want to catch this cheery holiday sight at Pastrana Park. Last night, the province's capital launched its giant Christmas tree and lights to welcome the Yuletide season. Kalibo Mayor Emerson Lachica reminded attendees of the annual celebration to observe health protocols while in the park. We have 23 days before Christmas. That's it for now. Join me again on news.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Mai Rodriguez for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Gikan sa Tagdumala ug magkawani sa Radio Philippines Network Incorporated RPN DXKS Radio Ronda. Malipayong Pasko o mabungahong bagong tuig kaninyong tanan.
Presidential aspirant Leody de Guzman leads a commemoration for workers who died in a tragedy 40 years ago. 169 workers were buried under quick-drying cement on November 17, 1981, when the scaffolding collapsed during the construction of the Manila Film Center. De Guzman, a labor leader, called for justice for the victims and slammed the so-called golden age of infrastructure during the Marcos administration. De Guzman and his supporters also offered flowers with messages saying, quote, "Never again in front of the theater." Let's now do an up-close conversation with Leody himself. Good evening po, Leody, and welcome to Newsnight.
Magandang gabi, Pia, at saka sa iyong mga tagapanood.
Oo. Leody, babalikan po natin yung Manila Film Center dahil pag-uusapan naman po natin si Bongbong Marcos. Pero ito na po muna, no? Kayo po ba mismo yung nagko-compose ng mga tweets ninyo? Kayo po mismo yung nagtitweet? Or is someone doing that for you? In other words, someone to support you tweet us?
Mayroon akong team na nagdi-discussion para doon sa mga ilalabas na statement ko sa bawat issue o bawat araw.
So,
kaya
pero,
nagkakaroon kami ng diskusyon.
Okay, pero yung ideas mismo, sa inyo galing or sa kanila?
Sa akin din. Minsan sa kanila, nagdi-discussion kami. Nagpapalitan, sasabihin ko, okay yan.
Okay.
Sasabihin naman nila, okay din yan. Parang gano'n, mayroon kaming team na nag-uusap-usap sa mga statement kong ilalabas.
Isa sa mga statements na nilabas po ninyo sa social media ay yung meron kayong parang challenge kay Sara Duterte na sige, tumakbo ka para, and we quote, yung pagkamuhi daw sa pamilya nila, lumabas daw kapag tumakbo si Sara and makikita daw sa elections. When you came out with that, Leody, ang tingin nyo ba tama yung statement nyo? Because if you look at the surveys, well, at the time, no, when she was still included doon sa presidential rankings, mataas ang survey ranking niya eh. So, paano po yun? How can you say na lalabas yung pagkamuhi or hindi siya mananalo sa eleksyon dahil galit ang tao sa kanyang pamilya?
May ganun akong reading na yung mga tao sa pagdating ng eleksyon ay magdi-decide at ang kanilang decision ay magbabatay doon sa kanilang halos 6 years na panunungkulan ng kanyang ama na hindi naman talaga nangyari yung pangako ng kanyang ama dahil sa ang paraan ay pananakot at palpak talaga yung kanyang ginawa sa nakalipas na halos mag-6 na taon na. At ang tingin ko ay magdi-decide ang taong bayan pagdating ng eleksyon.
Well, anong tingin po ninyo sa so-called BBM, Bongbong Marcos, Sara Duterte tandem? Although nasa iba't ibang partido sila, they're supposed to be a tandem now. They're going to be supposedly running together. What do you think of that?
Tingin ko, isang natural na bagay yun. Talaga namang nagsasama-sama yung mga magkakapareho. Para nga bang yung lumang kasabihan na bird of the same feather flock together. Parehong dynastiya, parehong akusado sa pagnanakaw, pareho ding akusado sa pagpatay. Kaya natural sa tingin ko na magsama silang dalawa.
Pag sinabi po ninyo pagpatay, you're referring of course to the war on drugs of President Duterte. If you were president, if you won in the election and you were president, what kind, anong klaseng war on drugs ang gagawin nyo? Dahil let's be honest, talagang problema naman talaga yung droga sa atin. So we do need to do something about it. But how would you handle it?
Hindi sa paraang pagpatay. Talagang lalabanan yung droga. Pero ang approach ay hindi dun sa pagpapatayin yung mga involved at saka yung mga biktima ng droga, kundi ituklasin ano ba yung root cause ng droga. Ako naniniwala na malaking bahagi ng dahilan niyan ay yung laganap na kahirapan ng ating mga mamayan. Kaya dapat yun ang i-address at itrato na ito'y isang health problem at hindi ito mga parang police problem na sundalo at pulis ang ihaharap. Ganun ko i-approach ito. At tama naman na dapat harapin yan. Pero yun nga, sa akin, yung root cause ng problem ang dapat i-address.
Okay, nabanggit po ninyo ang salitang health. So syempre, meron po tayong pandemya ngayon, this health crisis. How would you manage it differently?
Siyempre, yung sa COVID, dapat iba rin, no? Hindi rin parang solusyong militar ang paraan. At hindi dapat ang mga nagpapatakbo niyan at nagmamanage sa mga general ng ating mga kasundaluhan o kapulisan. Kundi dapat mga expert ng medical ang siyang dapat namumuno at nagpapasya doon sa mga dapat gawin. Doon sa drugs ay dapat rehabilitation. Kinakailangan ay i-rehabilitate natin, iligtas natin yung mga biktima ng droga. At yung mga siyang nagpapakana, yung mga drug lord, ay dapat ay makulong ang lahat ng yan. Hindi dapat patakasin.
Balik po tayo sa health crisis sa pandemya, Kaliodi. Sino po yung pipiliin yung health secretary?
Pwede yan si Leachon na siyang parang vocal ngayon na nagpapaliwanag ng mga scientific na approach tungkol doon sa paglaban sa COVID. Pwede siya na isang contender para sa posisyon na yun.
Okay. Kanina lamang before we introduced you, Kaliodi, napag-usapan po natin yung Manila Film Center. No? Of course, 1981, so that happened 40 years ago. In other words, there is an entire generation of Filipinos who don't even know that happened. No? So, ang tagal na ng panahon, 35, 36 years since EDSA 86. So, the question now is, you have Bongbong Marcos running, tapos ang dami nagsasabi, paano tayo nakarating sa puntong ito? Nagka-EDSA tayo noong 1986, although kayo po sa kaliwa, no? Medyo wala po kayo sa EDSA. But anyway, ibang issue yon. Pero ang dami nagsasabi, kasalanan daw ng taong bayan dahil we have short memories. Now, we don't remember. That's why yung never again, never forget, para bang wala sa atin yun, ano? Pero pag tumingin po kayo sa history ng after EDSA, yung post-Marcos years, 35 years po yun, 26 years of those 35 years, mga administrations ng mga presidente na who were allied against Marcos. So ano po yung naging problema natin, Kaliodi, sa tingin ninyo?
Ako tingin ko kung bakit nagkaganyan, yung mismong pangako ng EDSA ay hindi naman natupad. Walang nangyayari. Parang ipinagpatuloy lang yung mga pamamaraan, polisiya ng dating diktador na si Marcos. yung inaasam ng mamaya na pagbabago ay hindi naman na i-deliver nung pumalit na mga o nagpalit-palit na gobyerno after Marcos. Kaya yung mga tao ay hindi ito iso bilang kalimot, kundi parang wala rin naman pala, baka mas mabuti pa yung dati. Kaya nagkakaroon ng ganung pagbalik sa desperasyon ng mamamayan doon sa kapalpakan din nung ini-offer nung pumalit kay Marcos. Yung bang elite democracy ay natigil lamang sa ilang bilang ng pamilya sa ating bansa, hindi tumagos yung demokrasya sa hanay ng mga manggagawa, ng ating mga maralita, ng mga driver, ng magsasaka, ng mga pangkaraniwang tao. Hindi nila maramdaman. At ang masakit ay parang pagpapatuloy lamang ng mga karahasan, kahirapan, tuloy-tuloy na pangungutang, pagkabaon sa pagnanakaw, ay nagtuloy-tuloy lang naman yun eh.
Nagtuloy-tuloy, oo. Pati yung mga political families. Political families, nandun pa rin sila, no? In the post-Marcos Congress, for example, andyan sila lahat. But Calyodi, are you saying na you agree with political analysts when they say that this election could be a referendum on EDSA? And not just the Duterte administration, because you have Marcos who has 40% of the vote in the latest surveys, in the latest survey rankings, above 40%, di ba?
Yung pagtaas ng rango ni Marcos o ni Sara, may malaking factor diyan yung perang pinapakawalan nila. Grabe kasi yung perang pinapakawalan para ipatampukin o baguhin, revise yung buong kasaysayan ng panahon ni Marcos. Kaya parang nabobola, nalilin lang yung ating mamayan using yung kanilang perang ninakaw nung panahon ng kailang panunungkulan.
Calyodi, itutuloy po natin itong conversation na ito after the break. Still at on Newsnight, like we said, we're still going to get Calyodi de Guzman's take on several issues. And
Protektahi ang imong mga mata batok sa delikado ug makadaot nga ultraviolet nga silaw sa adlaw ug uban pa. Pinaagi sa pagsulob og eksakto nga prescription sa antiyohos o antipara. Likay ang mga simptomas sama sa hanap nga pananaw sa layo o duol nga basahon, sakit sa ulo ug uban pa nga makaapekto sa atong kahimsog nga ang hinungdan depekto sa atong mga mata. Alang sa kumpleto nga primary eye care, contact lenses, fashion eyewear, computer eyeglasses, sunglasses, accessories ug uban pa, adto kita sa AG Buñuel Optical Clinic. Ang AG Buñuel Optical Clinic nagpahinumdum kanato nga ang kahimsog sa atong mga mata usa ka prioridad nga angay ipa-check up kausa matag tuig aron pagsiguro nga luwas kita sa piligrong mga sakit. Pinaagi sa lisensyado og qualified optometrists nga maoy mo prescribe sa eksaktong kagamitan ug kung primary eye care ang pagahisgutan. Duaw lang silang buhatan sa 3636 sa Nicolas Street, Surigao City ug adunay ilang extension office sa Aurelianida Street, Cantilan, Surigao del Sur. Ayaw kalimti higala, AG Buñuel Optical Clinic.
Ang AG Buñuel Optical Clinic doon na branch dito sa lungsod sa Dapa sa may Lupis Haina Street, Poblasyon Dapa, Surigao del Norte.
Ang AG Buñuel Optical Clinic dinhi sa siyudad ng Surigao no transfer na sa bag-ong location sa Nicolas Street Ragyahapon, tapad sa Garcia Hotel at bang sa Unicity. Ang Riverside Parts Master Incorporated na sa ilang bagong location sa Dalan, Burgos ning atong syudad. Mahimo niyong tawagan sa telephone number 231-7478 or 826-3663. Mga produkto nga inyong mapalit, genuine, Makita Power Tools sama sa planer, drill, grinder, Triton paints, construction supplies, angle bars, flat bars, GI pipes, automotive spare parts, Firefly electrical devices sama sa switches, bulbs ug outlets. Adto ang Riverside Parts Master Incorporated sa ilang bagong pwesto sa Dalan, Burgos ning syudad. Makahangyo ka o makabarato pagyod diha sa Riverside Parts Master Incorporated.
RPN Radio Philippines Network, Radyo Ronda DXKS Surigao, member kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
still have with us for Up Close, presidential aspirant and labor leader Leody de Guzman. Leody, meron po kayong platform tungkol for women, and you also said that you would include women in your cabinet and LGBTQ. Is that enough to get the women's and the LGBTQ vote?
Mas ang intention ko dyan ay magkaroon talaga ng participation yung ating mga kababaihan. Mas yun ang aking intention. Yung boto, tupalo lang kung nagugustuhan nila yung aking plataforma. Pero magbumoto man sila sa akin o hindi, ang nakikita ko, kinakailangan i-empower natin yung mga kababaihan at huwag parang ilagay lang sa sideline. Simulan na natin na bigyan ng recognition at pagkilala yung mga kababaihan, yung mga
LGBTQ.
LGBTQ ay magkaroon din ng papel at huwag yung parang binabaliwala sila. Kasi tingin ko, malaki ang magiging contribution nila para sa pagsasaayos ng ating pamahalaan.
Pero pag kababaihan ang pinag-uusapan, syempre, one of the first women come to mind is Leni Robredo at ang daming Leni supporters nagalit po sa inyo dahil sa inyong statement na lugaw na walang laman. Bakit po ninyo sinabi yon?
Kaugnayan doon sa kanyang statement kasi noong ko pa sinasabi, yung tungkol sa issue ng kontraktualisasyon na naging sagot niya doon ay yung pag-aaralan at aalisin yung endo. Yung PIA, yung endo, ay matagal nang wala na yan at hindi na pinapractice ng mga negosyante. Ang pinapractice ng mga negosyante ngayon at siyang mukha ng kontraktualisasyon ngayon ay yung manpower agency. Doon na ipinasa ng mga kapitalista yung kanilang mga manggagawa sa manpower agency. At yun ang mukha ng kontraktualisasyon na dapat alisin. Okay. Yung endo, wala na yun eh. Hindi na nag-direct hire yung mga kapitalista. Yung poor labor na lang na ilang manggagawang kailangan nila ang kanilang kinukuha. Pero majority ng kanilang mga manggagawa ay sinosource out nila yun doon sa mga manpower agency at yun ang plano ko na dapat buwagin.
Okay. Nabanggit po ninyo yung salita o yung terminong kapitalista, no? And you have very, of course, as expected, very radical or progressive views on, for example, minimum wage, taxes sa mayayaman. Pero I'm not going to ask you to detail that. Ang question ko po, Leody, is are you expecting, you do know na hindi po kayo susuportahan ng big business, lalo na dahil sa mga plano ninyo, no? Because I'm sure ang sinasabi na naloko na pag ganyan ang gusto gawin ni Leody de Guzman, hindi po ba? You know that, right? Or you think that you would still be supported?
Alam ko yun. At yun nga yung gusto kong baguhin doon sa aking politika dahil sa mahabang panahon, ang lahat ng nasa likod ng mga politikong tumatakbo, lalo na sa pagka-presidente o vice-presidente or even sa Senate, ang mga nasa likod niyan ay puro mga big business, yung mga kartel, mga monopolyo, ng mga kilalang pangalang mga negosyante. Na yun ang nananaig na interest na kailang sinusulong pagkatapos silang manalo. Na ang problema natin dyan, pagka ang interest ng mga big business ang nasunod, walang mangyayari talaga sa buhay ng mga manggagawa at ng sambayanan dahil yung kailang interest ay kontra sa interest ng mga manggagawa. Yung gusto ng mga manggagawa, ayaw nila. Yung gusto nila, ayaw namin dahil nakakasama sa amin eh. At ang isang larawan niyan, yung kontraktualisasyon. Yung kontraktualisasyon ay nagpapayaman sa iilan, pero nagpapahirap doon sa ating 45 million na mga manggagawa. Ganun din yung rice tarification law na ipinasa. Ay nagpapahirap yan doon sa 11 million na ating mga magsasaka, pero nagpapayaman yan doon sa mga negosyanteng importer ng bigas. Ay yung mga ganyan. Kaya nga sabi ko, Pia, kung ipag-aadya na ako'y manalo, talagang babaguhin ko yung mga batas at patakaran na nagli-legalize sa pagyaman ng ilan at pagpapahirap sa ating mamamayan.
Naririnig ko na naman yung mga negosyante. Sinasabi na, naloko na. Okay, pero Leody, ito, ang mga yes or no questions na, and syempre people are saying, statement run kaya ito kay Leody. But anyway, yes or no lang po ang sagot, wala na pong explanation. Number 1, do you favor easier public access sa mga SALN of the President, Vice President, members of Congress? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you support lifting foreign ownership limits in the Constitution? Yes or no? I can guess.
Pakiulit, Pia.
Do you support lifting foreign ownership limits in the Constitution? No.
Yes.
Oh, talaga? Lifting foreign ownership limits, ha? Do you favor reimposition of death penalty for drug-related crimes? Yes or no? No. Should the sitting president be allowed to run for VP in the next election? However, medyo na-overtake na po yun. Never mind kasi tatakbong senador si President Duterte. Our next question.
Dapat hindi.
Do you favor resuming peace talks with communist rebels? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then, should the country be more aggressive in protecting its maritime interests in the West Philippine Sea? Yes or no?
Medyo magulo.
Ay, sorry.
Pakiulit.
Should the country be more aggressive in protecting its maritime interests sa West Philippine Sea? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Yes po ang sagot ni Carliodi de Guzman, ang ating guest ngayong gabi sa Up Close dito po sa Newsnight. Maraming salamat po sa inyo, Carliodi. Thank you very much.
Pia. Maraming salamat.
RPN Radio Philippines Network, Radyo Ronda DXKS Surigao, member kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Maayong balita sa tanan sa atong panginahanglan sa panimalay, mga gamit, ingon man mga dekorasyon, pwede na natong mapalit diha sa Wellington Bazaar. Anausab sa Wellington Bazaar ang mga bestidahon, karsunison, plain t-shirt, plastic chair, floor mat, mantel, banig, folding bed, habol, mosketero, trapal, lideret, basketball, stuffed toys ug mga dulaan sa bata. Ang Wellington Bazaar ana magalagad kanato sa Dalan Kaimo ning Dakbayan sa Surigao. Wellington Bazaar, gikan sa mga kawani og tigdumala sa Wellington Bazaar. Mayong adlaw alang kaninyo. Wellington Bazaar, sukion ta sa kanunay.
Ay, kasakit yun sa ako ang mga mata. Uy, labad pagyud kay ako ang ulo. Murag kog malipong ba? Unya, murag limtanon pagyud ko. Unsaon man ni, uy.
Naanag yun ay kay problema, miss. Ha? Tanawa ko, nagsakay ka na sa tricycle. Wala kay suot, bra. Ha? Para masolba na imo problema. Ha? Pag inuman ni, Lutein Plus.
Unsa? Lutein Plus? Asa man na nimo gikan?
Ako man ninadunggan sa radyo, miss. Maong kagapalit ko naan. Pagpangandam ba?
Sige, salamat kayo ha. Magpalit dayon ko og Lutein Plus.
RPN Regional AM radio stations nationwide welcomes CNN Philippines, a first on radio. To bring you the latest news you can use, news you can trust. Listen to Newsnight, weekdays, 6 p.m.
We now go above and beyond the headlines.
Followed by Med Talk, Health Talk.
We'll talk about how to keep ourselves healthy during the pandemic.
Politics as usual.
Our guests for tonight, two political science professors.
Up close and more. Catch CNN Philippines Hour in all RPN AM radio stations. Weekdays, 6 to 7 p.m.